Hey you guys, it's Josh Vision. I'm here to bring to you my review of BoJack Horseman Season 4, Episode 3. So the episode was entitled Hooray, Todd's Episode. So obviously that means Todd is the main focus of this particular episode. We begin this episode with a lion. Basically, he's in the club and everyone's talking about the legend of Todd, or rumors of the greatness of Todd Chavez. So the lion talks about how Todd saved his daughter from drowning on a boat. He also gave birth to her child on a raft and basically carried the kid up, like when the helicopter came to save them. And they had a discussion about religion and all that stuff. It was pretty zany stuff. So after that, we have pretty much Mr. Peanut Butter and Katrina talking about fracking. Now, fracking is basically when you have high pressure liquid and you inject in subterranean rocks, and then you basically, to the point that it pops open like open fissure, and then you extract oil, gas, and all that from it. So Diane essentially says to Mr. Peanut Butter that, listen, I'm not trying to be involved in your campaign, but you cannot support fracking because it's wrong. And if you do, just remember I'm going to be pissed. But don't mind me. She goes off to work, whatever. So Katrina says that basically Mr. Peanut Butter has to basically take the neutral stance, which is like, don't necessarily support one or the other. Just sort of be in the middle. And she tells Todd, he says, since you don't really do anything, go back to Miss Princess Caroline's office and get Mr. Peanut Butter's glasses. So he goes there, and Princess Caroline tells him that she has something for him to do. And she wants to get this picture from this star, this new actress star named Courtney Hortonway, who's essentially the niece of the guy who was on Taken, in her own words. So Todd has to basically go on a date with her and get a pic with her. And after that, Todd is basically, he returns back to Mr. Peanut Butter's house, gives him the glasses. But before he even got to Princess Caroline, it just came back to me. There was some FedEx guy that wanted him to sign something. He didn't sign it because Katrina told him before he left, don't sign anything without her permission. So when Todd came back with the glasses, Katrina was pissed at him saying, listen, why didn't you sign it? And Todd's like, because you told me not to. She's all like, listen, whenever from here on out, sign anything, all right? Sign whatever. Just do it. So after that, basically, Mr. Peanut Butter holds his little campaign speech, whatever, all that crap, since he's now the governor of California. And instead of basically being in the middle, he straight up says, I think, that he supports fracking. And Katrina's like, God, why? And we all know what Diana said earlier in my video. She said she'll be really pissed if she ever found out that he did support it. So after that, basically, Todd gets chloroformed by this mysterious character. And after he wakes up from it, it basically looks like her name is Holly Hawk. And she says essentially that, that people always thought that she looked like BoJack Horseman, and that she probably thinks that that's her father, since she was basically adopted as a baby. So Todd and her are trying to figure out a way on how to get BoJack, because Todd reminds her that he doesn't live with BoJack anymore, and the fact that he's been gone at this point for up to a year. So they go to the house, and BoJack's drunk, hungover, and the only reason why he wakes up is because someone says blow. He's like, oh, blow, I want some blow. Then after that, I believe Hollyhock chloroforms him. He's like, oh God, the relief. And she knocks him out. So she takes the strand of his DNA, obviously, so Todd can take it to the DNA labs and get a result within 1 hour. But Todd forgets, and the guy at the lab had to remind him, you need both strands of hair so that we can figure out if it matches or not. So Todd tells her that. She's like, wait, no way I'm not going to do that. And Todd's like, hey, listen, let's just do it at the same time. And Todd plucks his hair out. He's like, oh, wait, I just remember I have the hair on my brush. Awesome. He's like, you good for nothing. After that, he goes basically tries to go back to the lab, but he's sort of reminded that he has to sort of keep up his end of the bargain when it came to Princess Caroline and Courtney Portnoy. So he goes on a date with her, and essentially she feels as though she tells him that I remember correctly, she's like, "Oh, I'm sure you want to take me to a much dirtier place than this." You know, basically really acting really dramatic to the point that even Todd's having a hard time understanding what she's talking about, and she just leaves. And then Todd's like, "What the hell?" After that, when the guy that owns the restaurant, he says, "You want part of my meatball and pretty much spaghetti meatball thing?" And Todd, for some apparent reason, remembers, hey, hair, DNA, meatballs. Oh, BoJack and Hollyhock. So he's reminded about that. And then once again, he finds out from Katrina that he actually signed something that basically made it clear and concise that Mr. Peanut Butter officially, legally signed that he's in support of fracking. That's bad on me. That's bad for Peanut Butter, and also the fact that Diane is going to find out. So Todd at this point is like, oh Jesus. So he goes to Diana's work, and he basically danced for 55 minutes, trying to distract her long enough that she doesn't figure out about the whole fracking thing. So after that, before that, Todd tells her, basically gives her some gossip story about how Channing Tatum had an illegitimate child with a Cadorvian woman or something. And Diane was wondering, Diane was saying, that could work since people doesn't want anything authentic, to talk about. They always care about gossip and celebrities and VMAs. This could work. I could get some actual views on my little blogs. So that distracts her long enough. Then Todd goes back. No, I think Todd actually gives a hair to Diane for her to check it to see if it's a match, to see if that illegitimate child, even though it was actually BoJack and Hollyhock's hair and DNA, whatever, see if it's a match. So BoJack talks with Todd. Todd is told by BoJack, listen, this maid is horrible. I'm glad you thought enough of me to get me a maid, but she's horrible. It's worse than when I got back here. So she doesn't basically do what she has to do. She's fired. Todd's like, chill. He gives BoJack a little 40 or whatever and says, calm down. He'll handle it. So Todd is essentially cleaning up the house. And this is when in the episode you're just like, you know what? They are definitely related. They are definitely related in terms of BoJack and Hollyhock, because they're both lazy as hell. So after that's done, Princess Carolyn calls Todd and says, listen, you screwed up before, man. Don't do this again. You know how I roll. You're going to go to Shark Jacobs' fashion show, I believe, and sit right next to the pretty much the empty seat next to Courtney pouring away that only her boyfriend would sit in. So Todd goes there. At first, people were disgusted. They're like, oh, he's so normal. Oh, my God, it's disgusting. And they're like throwing stuff at him. I think the one in charge of the fashion show at one point was thinking about throwing a sewing machine at him. But Todd basically does this speech that inspires everyone. They're like, hey, that's the point of fashion. It's for everyone. And then there's all this celebratory crap and whatever. After that, essentially, Todd goes back. Todd's called by Diane, and he finds out that it's a match. So apparently BoJack is Hollyhock's biological father. So with that being said, I believe Todd goes back to BoJack's house, asks where is Hollyhock, and BoJack tells him that he sent her over, to Channing Tatum to pay him back for basically keeping his house, in order for the most part, and for making sure all his mail was, where they're supposed to be. So after that, we have a brief little exchange with BoJack and Todd, in which Todd is saying that, I don't really feel like talking to you that much because you've been gone for a year. And then BoJack's like, I came back to make some amends. And then you think him and Todd's going to have a friendship moment. And then he talks about, man, I have such a loyal friend in Channing Tatum. And then you're like, oh my God. And then BoJack's like, can you please, Todd, tell Channing Tatum how much I appreciate him? And Todd's like, yes, BoJack. So he goes there. He sees Hollyhock, tells her that BoJack's her biological father, but he doesn't feel as though BoJack is ready to be an actual father to her. So she kind of agrees, sadly. But ironically, Diane's at the door. No. Actually, Todd tells her that BoJack isn't her father. And so through confirmation through Diane that she kind of figures out, oh, so he is, my father. So after that, when Todd's able to, because Todd does a really good impression of Channing Tatum, he's able to convince Diane, whatever, and she leaves, And after that, Todd and BoJack finally have that moment when Todd is saying, I'm kind of teed off at you. BoJack's like, listen, man, you done a lot for me, and I slept with the one girl you actually loved in your life. And Todd's like, you know what? You aren't the best of friend. I mean, you're not the best friend that anyone would want, but you are my friend. You are my best friend, and I think I'm asexual. And then BoJack's like, what do you mean asexual? And he would go on some tangent. Todd's like, chill. That means I'm not attracted to anyone. And then BoJack's like, oh. And then they have this funny moment after that, and BoJack tries to say, hey, if you want to stay. Todd's like, listen, nah, not now. So Todd basically says, you know what? We're on speaking terms. We'll just go from there. And then he says, nice to see you again, BoJack. He goes out. BoJack's just chilling. And I believe not long after that, Hollyhock appears. And then we have this thing with Todd and Corey Portaway, which are on the bar, and they're talking about, being famous. And Todd said he wouldn't want to be famous, And Corey Portaway said, sometimes being a celebrity is kind of like people are looking at you, but they're not really seeing you. So I believe that's how the episode ends. I may have forgot a few things, but I think I hit the main points. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And adios. I'll have some more reviews for BoJack Season 4 in a few hours.